So this is a lesson, World War I for Year 9, and we're looking at World War I in the air. So we're going to learn about the use of aircraft in war for the very first time. World War I is the very first war ever that was fought at least partly in the air. You can understand what they could do and what they couldn't do, and by that hopefully you're developing some historical analysis skills. Key words: a Zeppelin. A Zeppelin is a type of airship. Here's a picture of one here, a Zeppelin. Cities: London. Civilians: if you're not in the army, if you're not in the armed forces, you are a civilian. Terror. Hydrogen, a gas. Flammable, things that burn are flammable. Unreachable, altitude, how high from the Earth's surface something is. So planes fly at a high altitude. String bag is a nickname. Flimsy, something that breaks easy is flimsy. Slow, canvas, like tents are made out of. Plywood. If something's unreliable, that means you can't rely on it. So if a machine's unreliable, it breaks down a lot. Improvements, you better know what that means. So let's start. What was a Zeppelin? Here's a picture of one here. It's a German airship. Here's a picture of one for you to draw. It's a gigantic balloon. Yeah? Hundreds of feet long. In this gondola bit with a bit of crew, might be 20, 30 blokes, and can carry those things as well. Engines to make it run. Yeah. They could fly at very, very high altitudes, 10, 20,000 feet, and they could go at about 30 miles an hour, so not terribly fast, but they could carry quite a lot of things. Yeah. In the picture, here's the gondolas where the people are, and the engines are here at the side. Can't really make them out that well. And what did the Germans use them for? A couple of things. One, for reconnaissance, having a look. And then they realised, we can fly over England and drop bombs on people. This is a picture from the time of London being bombed from the air for the very first time. These massive things flew over London and dropped bombs on people. It's the first time London had ever been attacked from the air. Happened a lot in World War II, but the Zeppelins in World War I. Why couldn't we just shoot them down? They're only balloons. We couldn't shoot them down at first because they flew too high. Their altitude was so high up, our early planes simply couldn't reach them. So although they were massive and really slow, for a while they were completely safe. Assessment on this bit. What was their big weakness? Zeppelins float because they're full of hydrogen gas. Yeah? This thing here is full of hydrogen. Hydrogen burns, it's flammable. Today, if you see an airship, it's full of helium. Helium is safe. Hydrogen burns. So as soon as we got a few planes that could fly high enough, it was pretty easy to shoot them down. One shot and they burst into flames. So after a while, as soon as we had planes that could reach them, the Germans had to stop using them. They were easy targets. Right, move on. Aeroplanes. What were the warplanes like at the start of World War I? Here's a diagram of one. I want to draw it. Here's a photograph. This is the sort of planes we had at the start of the war. Look at that. That is a kite. That is a flimsy wooden frame with material, canvas stretched over it, and a lawnmower engine at the back. Yeah? That is incredibly dangerous. Slow, unreliable. More pilots died in crashes than died from fighting at the start of the war. So at the start of World War I, planes were slow, flimsy, unreliable. Yeah? There's some more pictures of them here. That's one. That's one there. They look like a pram. Useless. Assessment. What were they used for? If they're so rubbish, why were they used? Think about it. If you've got trench warfare, you've got millions of men on the ground in trenches, if you can fly over the enemy's trench, you can see what they're doing. And that was the main use of planes in World War One, to fly over the enemy's trenches and to see what was going on, see who was well, how many men were there, how many big guns were there, and to radio it back to headquarters. That's what they were used for. And then both sides needed to control the air above their trenches, so that's what the fighting was about. These planes would fight each other to try and stop the enemy seeing what you're doing. So the fights you see in the movies I'll show you are all about controlling the air above the trench system. Finally, how had the planes improved by the end of World War One? So here are some pictures of some planes used towards the end. This is the last German fighter ever built. It's made of steel now. It's got one wing. It's much faster. During the war, planes like this came along. This is a triplane. And by the end of the war, the first large bombers had been invented. They could fly hundreds of miles. And then this is a German plane. And the Germans were able to fly this plane to London and bomb it again. So they improved massively. They were much bigger. They were more reliable. They were faster. They flew further. They could carry more things. They basically improved a hell of a lot in 4 years.